Hi there, Grant Tiller from Spectrami, joined today by Michael from Datera.
Hello.
Hi Michael, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
I'd like to ask you today, if that's all right, how Datera can deal with disaster recovery, multiple sites, and really scaling across infrastructure that is not all confined to a single site.
Yeah, this is a question we came across very often. A single site deployment is a starting point for many of our customers. But later on, when they see how Datera works within their environment, the benefits about easy deployments, availability, performance, and scale, they think about scaling into different data centers, for example, different sites. They start to think about high availability and disaster recovery, of course, which makes sense.
Absolutely. So utopia from an architectural standpoint is all of our workers are in one office. You go downstairs and there's the data center, and everything's together on the same network. Reality is that's not true.
Right.
Often, if not frequently, the data center is in a different location.
Absolutely.
And then obviously we need to accommodate for disaster recovery and backup scenarios as well. So how can Datera help with that? And really, what would the architecture look like?
Okay. Let me draw a quick picture,
Please.
Thinking about that one. As you said, usually we start in a single site deployment. That means we have a data center, let's say data center one. Everything is located there. We prefer already having maybe a data center which has different fire compartments. And to ensure in case a fire compartment fails, that there's still access to the data.
So physically different rooms in the same building,
Right.
which are managed by different UPSs.
Absolutely.
Maybe the fire extinguishers are set up on different circuits.
Absolutely.
So that if one goes, then your users still have access to a data center.
Right.
Clear.
What we do in that case is we position in the fire compartments the storage nodes, the Datera nodes, and we set up something we call a stretch cluster.
Okay.
Stretch cluster is a synchronous setup which allows the customer to have a high availability setup. That means every I/O which is written written into both fire compartments or multiple fire compartments. The system will take care. You define again a policy which describes the data placement, and the system will take care about the fire compartments and ensure that every data set is available in every fire compartment.
Okay, so in my simplistic terms, basically with a stretch cluster, it's being presented out as one bucket of storage,
Correct.
but actually in the background, you've got two separate locations,
Or four.
a mirrored copy of the data, essentially.
Absolutely.
Clear.
Absolutely. That can be one data center, but we can extend that one, of course, in a data center too, depending on the link in between.
Okay, yep.
The only thing is, which we have to keep in mind, we have to write synchronously to have consistent data. And thinking about the distance in between will increase the latency, will impact the performance, of course.
Clear.
But that's something we have customers running 25 kilometers. It's a millisecond latency. If the application is fine with that,
Yep.
we can do it. We can deliver. We have a setup for testing East Coast, West Coast in US. It's a bit more than 1 millisecond latency.
Okay, yep.
It works. But of course, for some application, it might be a big pain point to have that additional latency.
So it depends really on what the application is as to whether you could get away with more than a millisecond of latency.
That's correct.
For example,
can go away with more.
I guess if you're presenting a virtual desktop, then a millisecond is right on the edge of whether it would be acceptable for the
Right.
user.
Yes.
However, if it's database access or file access, then a millisecond isn't normally a problem.
If you think about an archive maybe or something like that, it's fine. Database, it depends again.
Yeah.
What's expected latency from the application.
Clear.
This is something we can extend to a different data center as well with additional fire compartments, and we can ensure that the data is written in both data centers.
Okay.
But that's high availability.
Yeah.
Now thinking about disaster recovery, what we can as well provide is a snapshot-based asynchronous mirror
Okay.
into, for example, even into the cloud. That means we have the capability, thinking about cloud in that case as an extension, an additional endpoint, we call it, to move data on a snapshot base using S3 as a protocol at the moment
Clear. Yep.
into the cloud, which allows you then even to recover out of the cloud your setup.
So that kind of answers one of the questions I had for you actually is if I'm looking at a snapshot technology for my backups, I'm not replicating my errors, my mistakes, my issues, my disasters.
Right.
Because normally if you look at standard site replication and one site goes down or you introduce foreign media or a virus into an organization, then with standard replication, you would actually mirror your virus.
Absolutely.
So the fact that you can replicate across a snapshot means you could go back to a point in time before that virus or before that foreign media is introduced.
Or the human error occurred, something like that. We offer on everything as well, snapshot and clones, which can help you to avoid that one.
Perfect.
Creating a snapshot, creating the clone, having the data available. And of course, we can as well extend everything into the cloud as a cheaper media for backup purposes, for example, pretty easy. We can promote local snapshots into the cloud. That means the full flexibility again, and everything policy-based again. That means I can create on a policy local snapshots on a different policy for the same volumes, even remote snapshots.
That's crystal clear. Michael, thanks for joining us today. If you've got any more questions about Datera, please contact us. Have a look at the website, spectrami.com.
Thank you.
Thank you.